Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me ask Mr. Willis. I was reading your statement. Where did you go to school?
I went to high school at McDonough 35, and I went to Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Okay. You're going to pay all these damages, and somewhere it said directly related to. What if there's a restaurant that doesn't have, like Galatoire's, let's just say, or Acme Oyster Bar? They don't have any oysters, or oysters, or whatever Harry Connick wants to call them this day. Who's going to pay the Acme Oyster Bar? Are you going to do that?
Congressman Cohen, what we're going to do is, and we've put a process in place so that any business that feels like it's been directly hurt or impacted by this oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico can go in and file a claim through our process, and it'll be reviewed.
It'll be reviewed. And that's been your stock answer, and I realize that's your limit of your authority. But the problem you've got is every restaurant in Louisiana, in the Gulf Coast, but particularly New Orleans, is going to be hurt. People go to New Orleans for a couple of reasons. One of them is to eat. And you know, ain't got any oysters, you ain't going to go down there to eat. And if you're a seafood restaurant, you're really going to be hurt. So, you know, Felix's, bad news. Acme, bad news. And while you can eat steak down there, you really go for the seafood. Rental car businesses, they're going to be hurt. Hotels going to be hurt. Casinos going to be hurt because people aren't going to be going down there. Are you going to, they all can file claims. Give me your thoughts of the probability of those folks being compensated by BP Oil, because really you need to subsidize the state of Louisiana for a long time.
I start by saying that I love the Acme Oyster House. It's one of my favorite places to eat.
Hope I can meet you there sometime in the future, and maybe we got to be real old.
And what I would add to my comments is that this claims process is very specific. Individual claims would be very specific. Some of the easiest claims to resolve are those around individuals, fishermen, crabbers, oystermen. Business claims are coming in now, and we're looking at everyone individually. We're using the best resources available, and we will make fair decisions. Our goal through this whole process is to be reasonable, is to be efficient, and to be fair, and to do the right thing.
I got what you're saying. It's just going to be tough, because to do the right thing, you're really going to have to take over that state and part of Mississippi and part of Alabama, I guess, because the damages you've caused are going to affect those states for the rest of my life, probably. Long time, several decades. And that's just fact. You're going to have to advertise every Tulane basketball game, even if nobody goes. LSU football game. You need to be the sponsor for all of them. Baseball team, everything. What was the profits of BP Oil last year?
The profits for BP last year, I don't know that number offhand.
Give me a ballpark figure.
I would guess it was on the order of $20 billion.
That's not enough. Y'all got to work harder. That's not going to take care of what you're going to owe. Y'all going to just go out of business?
We're going to do the right thing, and we're going to mitigate all of the damage that we've caused as a result of this spill that we're obligated to do under the law. But in addition, there's some other things we're going to do as well. For example, we offered up to $25 million block grants to the state to expedite the cleanup process. We recently offered $70 million to the states to help sort of publicize tourism.
How about all the losses they're going to have in sales tax revenue from folks not going down there? And how about when the marshes are destroyed, the next big 5 hurricane comes in and the city gets wiped out? You going to compensate the city of New Orleans for its past and for another evacuation of the city?
We will cover the expenses, the legitimate expenses that have been substantiated and are related to this spill.
Mr. Willis, you're doing your job good, and you got a tough job, because legitimate, and directly, and recording this bill, there's going to be a lot of people in this nation that are going to suffer, and the government's going to end up being the surety for all of your negligence, because we're going to have to pay for it and make up for Louisiana's losses and all those cities. It's going to fall on the backs of the United States taxpayer, and we're going to have to come to the rescue, because you're not going to do it, because you're going to say they're not direct, et cetera, et cetera. Not your fault. It's your fault of your company. You're doing your job. Mr. Lemmer, is it Lemmer or Lemmer?
Lemmer, Congressman.
Assessor, you know something about this safety valve program, I guess. Is that right? That's what y'all
Well, I'm a lawyer, not an engineer, so I know something about it generally, yes.
Well, when Judge Poe was throwing around, or not him, but Trent Frank's throwing around those words, it seemed like you understood them. Should BP or somebody had seen a worst possible case scenario that this would have occurred and been prepared to respond? Should they not have been prepared to respond in some manner?
Sir, that's a difficult question for me to answer because we're an equipment and service supplier. BP is the operator. I mean,
Right, but as a service supplier, wasn't there a possibility that what you supplied would have a problem, which it apparently did, and that they should have anticipated that and seen the worst possible case scenario and had top kill ready to go before this ever happened?
Well, should BP have foreseen something like this occurring? I mean, BP has testified that they viewed this as a fail-safe device when in fact it's not. It's the last chance, but it's not a fail-safe. So should they have foreseen it? I don't know. That's going to be for the courts to decide in the future. Right. Should they have a top kill ready to go? That's a different question. That procedure, I understand, has been used on the surface. It's never been used at these depths. I don't know that it's ever been called on to be used at these depths before. It was talked about early on after the blowout, but why other efforts got priority over the top kill, I can't tell you.
And I don't know who the right person would be to answer this question. Maybe nobody can. But it doesn't seem to me that it's right to allow us to let any company drill at depths where we don't have the ability to go in there and stop a leak. We don't have that ability. But, well, top kill wasn't done at that depth. The first thing we had, which was the dome, we didn't have the super dome ready. We couldn't do that either because we hadn't done it at that depth. We didn't know it was going to freeze when it got down there and the salt water and all this stuff, and it's going to have a problem. Well, if they don't know how to do it, we shouldn't let them drill. And it was the negligence of the Bush, Cheney, Halliburton regime that gave them that authority. And we're suffering from it today because they allowed this to occur, and it never should have been permitted. And for 8 years, after they had their secret meetings in 2000 and in 2001 that we still haven't seen the results of with the oil companies, and BP was there, and Conoco was there, and ExxonMobil was there, and Cheney was there, they came up with an energy program that has hurt this country to this day and continues to hurt the country, and the responsibility for this goes back to Bush, Cheney, and Halliburton. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.